Good evening, everybody. I call the May 7th edition of the Central Florida Facilitators into order this evening. If you have a phone on you, if you would be so kind as to turn it off, we would greatly appreciate not having the distraction. And of course, we don't want any distractions because what you're going to see tonight will put you in awe. Yeah. If you need to use the restroom, either of those last two doors by Steven or the young lady with the Superman shirt, if you go out there, hang a left, and then hang the first left, they will be down at the end of that hallway. At Toastmasters, we provide a positive and supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from a shared set of values and goals. Please help me welcome our thought and pledge leader this evening, Mr. Willie N. Is Alan? Okay, sorry. I can't read. I'm seeing double today. Alan Lamphere, he must have been surprised there. It is an impromptu
All right. For thought for this evening, woohoo, tabletopics! So, after my situation last week, I asked for redemption this week, so I'm going to be under the gun watching everybody. So I hope you guys are ready. I'm really looking forward to this evening, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun. Right on. And now it is time for our pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And now back with our president.
Very good, thank you. Club business. We're going to start. We have two guests this evening. So guests, you're going to get your first chance to publicly speak this evening. If you would, stand up. We have Renju, and tell us why you're here tonight and what you expect to see tonight, what you want to get out of this.
Thank you. My name is Renju J. I work for a company called EA Sports, the video gaming company, and I work there as a finance manager. And I'm here just to check out what's going on in the Toastmasters Club. This is the first time I was sitting in Toastmasters Club, and I came to know about this club through a colleague in Canada, one of my very friendly co-worker, and she told me about joining about Toastmasters Club and benefits of joining Toastmasters Club. So I'm here.
Thanks, Renju. We look forward to connecting with you throughout the evening. And we have
Carlene. I got really nervous. But my name is Carlene St. Felix, and I'm an HR administrator at a consulting company in Winter Park. I'm here because I want to be a dynamic speaker, not just go up in front and speak to people, but I want to be able to express myself in a way where I can inspire everyone around me. And I look forward to sharing this experience with all of you.
I'm inspired by your desire to come here and be inspired. We have some really exciting news. We have a want to call it a new member or a recycled new member,
Recycle.
who also just hit a milestone earlier this morning, attending 2 clubs in one day. That's how exciting this is and the benefit you get out of it. We have a new member and a new competent communicator. If you'd stand for a round of applause, Michelle.
I also got my CL.
CL, competent leader as well.
Very good.
And you're looking awfully tan since the last time.
And she's gonna join the club.
Yeah, I'm joining, yeah. I'll do my dual membership.
Right, she's going to join tonight, so we'll have a new facilitator, maybe even
Back
3.
again.
And I'm telling you, I'm not going to drag this on my part too much. We have got an incredibly exciting agenda tonight, and you're going to get a big burst out of here really quick. So without further ado, we want to introduce our educational moment leader this evening, my close friend, distinguished Toastmaster Toni G.
The educational moment this evening is about 2 things: the agenda and time. Timing, staying on time, however you want to look at it. Yeah, just for you, baby. I am going to refer to my basic communication manual as well as my competent leadership manual to give you some information that you should already know, but knowing you guys, some of you haven't read it yet. But it's all right here in black and white. One of the most important things that the Toastmaster does on a weekly basis, whoever the Toastmaster is prepare the agenda. You have an agenda in front of you. You get an agenda at every meeting. Sometimes there's 2 speakers, sometimes there's 3 speakers, sometimes it's all table topics, and sometimes there's special events. So the job of the, balance this out, where's the button? The job of the Toastmaster is to do some planning ahead of time and know how long the speeches are going to be and prepare the agenda in a manner such that the meeting will be run effectively and hopefully on time, or it's more of an estimate of the time, so we can go earlier than the time or we can go later. It's up to the Toastmaster when they run the meeting to work the agenda properly. Now, a lot of you have been Toastmasters before, so you know what a big job it is. There's planning, there's preparation, organization, time management, facilitation, motivation, and team building skills. That's pretty good, huh? One role, you get to do all that in a week. During the meeting, one of the requirements is to pay attention to the time and to strive to begin the meeting on time and end the meeting on time. Adjustments to the schedule are definitely allowed based on changes, people not showing up, or whatever needs to be done to get the meeting accomplished. Another important person that helps keep the meeting on time is the timer. Now, we have not been using the timer as effectively as we could. We know the timer keeps track of prepared speeches, the evaluations, and table topics. But according to the manual, the timer is also responsible to signal the Toastmaster, signal the table topics master with a red light when the end of their time comes up, because turning around to look at the clock isn't always very convenient or very effective as a speaker. Is anybody opposed to us trying that tonight to see if we can keep the meeting on time and see how that works? For a red light to come on by the timer at the end of each section, according to the agenda. Let's try it and see how that works. Because I know a lot of times the table topics person goes, do I have more time? Can I call on one more person? Well, let's try using the timer to help us out in that regard. The table topics master, particularly for this meeting, is responsible also for staying within their time limit or checking with the Toastmaster to see if more time can be allotted, especially if you're ahead or behind on the agenda. So there's communication that is allowed to go on during the meeting so that it's most effective. for all the participants. One of the jobs of the table topics master, sometimes we see this, sometimes not, is to keep your comments short, to set up the question, but the whole idea is to let the participants participate and to let them have the time. And sometimes what we see is the table topics master takes a lot of time setting it up, introducing the question, and only 3 people get to participate in table topics. So one of the things, if we go back to the agenda and stay on time, there'll be more time for everybody to participate. And definitely that's a goal of table topics. You're not timing me, are you? I meant to ask you to time me. One of the things that helped me be the Toastmaster was to save some of the agendas so that I could go back and see, did it work? And I also put the times, the actual times on the side, so I can see how long the evaluator is taking, how long the general evaluator is taking. But because we have got a pretty good system for figuring out the agenda, it's not as hard as it looks. It's not like you have to set it up, figure it out every time you're the Toastmaster. The 4th thing I want to say is that it's everybody's responsibility to stay on time. If you're a speaker with a speech that's 5 to 7 minutes and you go 10 minutes, we don't stop you. But that's 3 minutes that we didn't get to do something else that's on the agenda. Same with table topics. A lot of the times people have gone over the time. I mean, I'm guilty of all of this. Because as you know, I'm here to learn how to stop talking in front of crowds, which I'll do right now. Our Toastmaster tonight is Micki D. Micki has been an avid reader since she was a very young kid. Her very first novel was a 500-page book with a very complex and dramatic story, from which she says she didn't understand anything. Sorry. That made her go back to more appropriate books for her age, like The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, which inspired the theme of this meeting. Please help me welcome to the lectern and our Toastmaster for this evening, Micki D.
I was of a very young age. Thank you, Toni. Dear fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, thank you for participating to our meeting tonight. My goal, as always, is to make it an entertaining learning experience. That's tonight's theme. I know we are going to have a great fun in the next 90 minutes. A few words about the Three Musketeers before we start the meeting. I have learned about musketeers when reading one of the most celebrated and popular historical romances ever written. The Three Musketeers is a French historical fiction novel written by Alexandre Dumas. It was originally published in a serial form in the newspaper Le Siècle between March and July 1844. The Three Musketeers story takes place in the time of Louis VIII in France, when Cardinal Richelieu acted as Prime Minister of France. It tells the story of a young gentleman named D'Artagnan as he ventures to Paris in order to become a guard in the King's Royal Musketeers, and meets and associates with the 3 inseparable musketeers by the name of Athos, Porthos, and Aramis. The 4 have many adventures together and a lot of fun, and I hope we are going to have tonight. Before I move on with the meeting, I would like to introduce our functionaries tonight, and I'd like to invite them to describe in a few words what their role is about. So our accountant tonight is Susan Morgan. Please help me.
It's Julie.
Oh,
We changed.
Sorry. Julian C.
Yes.
It is without trepidation and much courage that tonight I serve as your accountant, and I will indiscriminately and without shame buzz each and every one of you that dares to say an inaudible clutch or any imperfection in your speech. That is my job tonight. Now, if I nail you with an imperfection, you're going to owe me 10 cents for each one. And Alan, I am counting on you to fill a treasury. At least one of my great contributors this evening. I'm betting on you. And I hope that a lot of you will contribute because we need the money. So with that, Madam Toastmaster, I give it back to you.
Our Grammarian tonight is Toni G. Toni, if you like it.
Grammarian, I've chosen the word of the day, which is courage, and you should all have a cheat sheet in front of you. It's a noun. The definition is the ability to conquer fear or despair. When I thought of an all table topics meeting, I needed courage. As an example of using it in a sentence, last week I mustered the courage to participate in table topics. I was gonna say, it's okay. And to my great surprise, something intelligent came out of my mouth, and I was voted best table topics speaker. I will keep track of all of you who use the word of the day. There will be a fine of 25 cents for our members if you do not use the word of the day, and everybody will have a speaking role today. I will also listen for colorful imagery and exceptional use of vocabulary and grammar, and at the end of the meeting, I'll report on how well we did. Thank you.
Our vote counter tonight is Ed Clark.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As vote counter, I will pick up your ballots. Best speaker, best table topics speaker, best evaluator, and most improved speaker. I will tally the results for award presentations at the end of the meeting. I will also pick up any comments you might have written for the speakers or any meeting participant and deliver the comments to the appropriate person. And hopefully I'll have the courage to resist all attempts at bribery and coercion because everyone wants to be the best speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. And the busiest person tonight in this room, our timer, Alan Lamphere.
Yeah.
It took a lot of courage for me to rise this school again this week with Okay, one of the skills Toastmasters practice is expressing a thought within a specific time. As timer, I am responsible for monitoring time for each speaker in each meeting segment. I will operate a timing signal indicating to each speaker how long he or she has been speaking. And tonight, for our table topic speakers, to qualify, speakers must speak at least 1 minute and no more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. The green light will go on at 1 minute, yellow light at 1.5 minutes, and the red light at 2 minutes.
Thank you, Alan. I am always prepared to pay for my mistakes. Because our meeting is only table topics, I chose to have 3 table topic masters tonight with 3 different themes. Heroes, movies, and kings and queens. Before I introduce our first table topic master, I'd like to share with you a funny joke about one of our famous superheroes. Batman and Robin are camping in the desert, set up their tent, and are asleep. Some hours later, Batman wakes his faithful friend, Robin. Look up at the sky and tell me what you see. Robin replies, I see millions of stars. What does that tell you? Asks Batman. Robin ponders for a minute. Astronomically speaking, it tells me that there are millions of galaxies and potentially billions of planets. Astrologically, it tells me that Saturn is in Leo. Chronologically, it appears to be approximately 3:15. Theologically, it's evident that Lord is all-powerful and we're small and insignificant. Meteorologically, it seems we will have a beautiful day tomorrow. What does it tell you, Batman? Batman is silent for a moment and speaks. Robin, you idiot. Someone has stolen our tent. No.
That's cute. I need to get my manual this
Thank you.
Alan, you may want to turn your light off.
You don't know that you've seen it yet.
If anyone has their CL manuals, this is the chance to get the tabletop speaker project evaluated.
I also have some forms if you'd like
Chapter
to
1.
have filled out for your speech tonight.
What are they?
Some forms, in case
Copies
you
of
don't have
it.
the CL manual.
Oh, I have to thank you.
This
Willie,
musketeer.
Yes.
Give it to somebody. Turn the project on. You can go on, Micki.
This musketeer will be serving as tabletopic master, delving in the topic of heroes. Please help me welcome our superwoman tabletopic master for this evening, Sarah Hunt.
So my 6-year-old son asked, why are you wearing my favorite t-shirts? You're going for a superhero party. My usual response, where you go Wednesday night, out with friends. He said, you're too big for my shirt. I hope it doesn't break. I hope it doesn't break either. One day I will share him with you the entire Toastmaster Heroes, all you are. And Heroes is our first theme.
Why not?
For tabletopics this evening. So Superwoman will be facilitating this first session. So let's begin. Tell us a time when you felt like a hero. Michelle.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't hear the question at all. I'm sorry.
Tell us a time when you felt like a hero.
Hero is a very strong word, so I don't think many people, even when they do heroic acts, really are going to call themselves a hero. I have, however, felt like I've helped someone in a big way by small things, which I encourage everyone to do, of course. Driving through McDonald's, one day I cut somebody off and getting into the drive-through line, and man, was this woman mad. Irate that I cut her off. So I paid for her food. But it changed her whole day. And, you know, she didn't go to work mad. She didn't have the whole date mad. Maybe she wasn't mad at her kid. It changed everything. Young girl came into the grocery store, or the gas station rather, and came over and had $5 for gas, which, you know, and she's 20-something, and yeah, everybody knows what that feels like. You're like, just as long as it gets me down the street, you know, as long as it gets me to that one destination, I'll figure out how to get back, just through in town. Just anything small like that you could do, I think, are heroic moments. I believe, I believe anything that you can do to help someone else, to further their day, to make their week better, to put a smile on their face, is our way of being the heroes that we're not able to be in the comic books. Thank you.
your life and why? Gail.
Madam Tabletopic Master to the Third. A hero in my life and why? There are many people. I've been on this earth for over 6 decades. A lot of people have crossed my path, have had influence, have had inspiration. But I think the most recent person is a gal. She would never consider herself a hero. I met her at church at a divorce separation meeting. She had recently moved to the area. She was embarking on a chapter of her life she never thought would happen. Divorcing after 33 years of marriage. Came to a town that she knows no one other than a daughter, befriended me, and that woman's courage that she has given to me, she has been so inspirational. She is not book learned at all. She graduated from high school, immediately married, started a family, and now 62, at the age of 62, is going to be thrust into a life that is not going to be financially supported. She has no education. She has never worked. But the fortitude that she is sharing with me is remarkable. And I have told her that she truly is one of my contemporary heroes. What she is going through, making me realize that even though I went through something similar, it was nothing compared to what she did.
Heroes may have special superpowers. If you could have a superpower, what would it be? Willie.
Superpower. Wow. It could be anything. If I had to pick something that I've always wanted, I guess I want to control the weather. If there's something about Florida, it's extremely hot. And sometimes it's annoying. So, if I had the courage to tell my wife one day, I think it's going to rain. And she's like, trust me, Willie. I saw the news report. It's not. I know. And also you know. And if I had the power to just go like this, wow, told you it was going to rain. So, yes, the power of weather. Why also? Boy, I could make a lot of money in weddings. I can imagine why I sound like, oh my goodness, Willie, it's going to rain the entire week. And I'm like, it's not, Julie. Trust me on this. It'll just cost you about $200, and I promise you it's not going to rain. Let's see. How can I have some fun with the power of weather? Yes, snow. Everybody needs to experience snow. At least one time in Florida. So I think I'll make it snow around Christmas. Because the one thing I've noticed about living here, my friends, is that in Christmas, I am playing volleyball, and that's not how you celebrate Christmas. So if I had the power, folks, just like that. Yeah.
Heroes are also chocolates manufactured by Cadbury, my favorites. Do you have any funny stories about chocolates, Julian?
Funny stories about chocolates, I have none. I'm not a big chocolate eater. I do enjoy chocolates once in a while. But my hero is my wife, and I'll tell you why. She gets up in the morning early when we had little kids and made sure that the kids were up, that they had breakfast. She drove them to school. Then she would pick them up. She would take care of me, which is a lot to handle. And she's always been by my side. She is my source of encouragement. You know, I've been married. My 28th anniversary was on April the 25th, so it was just a couple of weeks ago. And as we sat around reminiscing our 28 years of marriage, and I thought about her, and it was amazing that she has been truly my only source of encouragement in my whole life. She's always there to encourage me through thick and thin, no matter how bad I screw up. She's always there to pick me up and to tell me that I'm a great man and a great person. And she's actually proud of me, and she makes me proud, and she lifts my self-esteem. And I am so lucky that I have such a person by my side. And when I take the time to think about it, I cherish her evermore. And I'm the luckiest man that I have a superhero by my side.
First superhero movie I ever saw was Superman in 1978. Tell us about one of your favorite superhero movies. Jonathan.
Adam Tabletopics Master, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, I feel like a kid in here this evening, and Julian opened the floodgate for me. Every time I get table topics, somebody goes up before me and I go, gosh, I wish I could have got that question. I have the greatest answer. I have a good chance to win tonight. And then boom, Julian comes up tonight, has this beautiful question about chocolates. And I went, boom, gosh, I wish I'd gotten that question. Then of course, the question that I don't want is the one that you give me. Isn't that how the universe works? But Julian opened the floodgate for me, so I'm going off topic here. Do I wish I had a superpower? Yes. Charles Xavier, X-Men. He could read people's minds. On Sunday, I went to the 0-19 mark on trying to get a second date. Actually, I never even got to the first because she canceled on me and said she had a family emergency. And then there was all these pictures of her on Facebook partying. So I don't know exactly what the emergency was. Then Julian gets the question of, do you have any funny chocolate stories? Well, our timer who wanted redemption this week, he cut me 2 minutes short last week and didn't let me finish my story. Some of you weren't in the room for the story, and you want to know what happened when I came out of the bathroom. Imagine 4th of July fireworks and its explosions. There was an explosion in the toilet from my date from sugar-free gummy bears. And I was in there appalled, sick, trying to not throw up. And I came out, and there she was in her nightgown. So, we didn't have any dessert tonight. I know you're a trainer and all. Would you like a chocolate? They're sugar-free. The sugar-free chocolates are also sweetened with maltitol. So I kindly disregarded her request, told her I had a horrible migraine, which, gosh, it was a lie. Now I understand why the girl lied to me, because I planted the seed of lying. Now everything's kind of adding up. So I had the funny story with the chocolate. Favorite superhero movie, though? Wolverine, and I really have absolutely no idea why, outside of Hugh Jackman as a physical specimen. It had a decent plot line, and there was lots of explosions.
All right.
That's our president.
How can we prepare and equip ourselves to be a hero in those moments in life that demand it? Stephen.
The hard part for many people is defining what it would mean to be a hero in the first place. And I hear people will throw out a lot of ideas of who their heroes may be. Sometimes they're fictional ones, sometimes you'll hear athletes, entertainers being suggested. And I think of those and I go, but that's not so much a hero as someone you want to be like. When I think of hero, courage is the only thing that I have to say comes in. Because they have to be able to overcome something, a shortcoming within themselves. And it's that struggle, whether you have that same shortcoming, it's that struggle to overcome that is what's supposed to be inspiring for everyone else, what makes somebody become the hero. Those who ran into the towers on 9/11, I put them on the realm of heroes, in the sense that what they did, they knew that they were putting their lives at stake. And they went and did what they were doing anyway. Some people like to say Captain Sullivan, when he landed the plane in the river, put him down as a hero, and I say close, but not quite. He didn't go into there thinking that this was going to happen. He reacted quickly and did a wonderful job in a very stressful situation, but he didn't try to avoid it. He didn't have the opportunity to do so. So when I think of somebody who, as a hero, I look at somebody who's going to face their own shortcomings, or whether it be death or personality, and struggle to overcome it, and that they're willing to put forth that effort. That's where I say heroes come from. And when it comes to Toastmasters, how many of you are in here to overcome a shortcoming within yourself? This is where you come to find people who are trying to fulfill those struggles, overcome their shortcomings, that are looking to grow and become something better. So yes, I find many heroes within Toastmasters. So if you want to know where mine might be around, look around.
That concludes this first section of Table Topics.
Timer report. Timer report.
A timer report, yes. Thank you.
Well, we are ahead of schedule, so that is good. First up, we had Michelle, who told us about a heroic moment. She talked for 1 minute and 28 seconds. She qualifies. Next, we had Gail, who told us about a hero in her life. She talked for 2 minutes and 7 seconds. She also qualified. Next, we had Willie, who told us about his weather superpowers. Talked for 1 minute and 40 seconds. He qualified. Julian, with a superhero by his side, talked for 1 minute and 58 seconds. He qualified. And we had John, without a superhero, but told us a good story. Talked for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. He qualified. And last but not least, we had Stephen, who told us who is a hero. He talked for 2 minutes and 14 seconds, and he qualified.
Take a moment to vote. Turn it back over to the Toastmaster. Thank you, Micki.
The next thing is movies. And again, I'd like to share a joke with you. John McCain goes to the movies. Taking a break from the campaign trail, John McCain decides to take in a movie. After buying his ticket, he stops at the concession stand to purchase some popcorn. Handing the attendant $5, he says, "The last time I came to the movies, popcorn didn't cost anywhere near this much money." "Well, sir," the attendant replies with a grin, "you are in for an even bigger surprise. The movie Movies have sound now. Our next musketeer tonight doesn't need any intro because he is our good-looking as a movie star president.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster Extraordinaire. Jonathan Dunn up here, everybody, and why would I get the movie topic? Well, if you spend any time at this club, you know I've led what some would call a pathetic life. A life that has forced me to engage in escapism. And my family gives me lots of free movie tickets, so I typically escape into a movie. So Micki thought I would be an authority on the subject. I want to give back a little bit tonight. This is a drill I literally just did 10 minutes ago. Raise your hand if you're nervous about table topics. Just try this in your head. In regards to any sort of fearful situation, recite to yourself when you feel fear to bring it on. And then to tell your fear how much you love it, because you have to love your enemies. And then, as Stephen said, he hit it perfectly. We're here to overcome it. So say, my fear sets me free. Bring it on. I love my fear and it sets me free. You will have a far better table topics. And now it's normal protocol to tell somebody their name afterwards, but you're getting this one. Alan is our resident muscle-bound person. Movies. What movie have you seen, and I want to know why, I want you to go deep here, that made you cry? Alan Lamphere. What movie made you cry?
Okay. Thank you, John. Well, the last movie that I remember crying about, or crying during, or two, however you want to look at it, was E.T. Now, I can't remember if I cried the first time I saw it back when I was 5 or 6. Whatever. But I cried because it just touched a place deep inside, because the boy and the connection and the bond that they had together, I just thought it was really beautiful and something that's hard to describe with words, but it gives you that kind of warm, fuzzy feeling inside. And deep inside, I'm kind of a hopeless romantic, sentimental kind of person, and I just really liked it. So that is the last movie that made me cry, and that's what I got.
Thank you, Alan. Now, yes, no pressure here. I promise to give you an easy question. Would you like to participate in this?
I can try it.
Good. That's right, man.
I think I'll go watch.
Sure, no problem. It's okay. Renju.
Yeah.
What's the scariest movie that you've ever seen and why?
That's the easiest question for him, not for me. Scariest movies. First of all, I don't watch many movies, so I don't know whether I have got a scary movie in my mind. I don't watch scary movies. I can talk about some my favorite series of movies. Basically, my favorite series are Final Destination. Those series really excites me. The way the people in the plane or in the bridge, all those experiences, which is depicted in the movies, they really excites me. So those are my favorite series of movies. I don't have any scary movie in my mind, so that's all.
Thank you. Great job. Your first date ever with your husband to the movies. Susan, what movie was it?
Master, that is a perfect and wonderful one, especially coming up on our anniversary. The first movie my husband and I saw together was The Phantom of the Opera when it came out in 2006. I had seen it on stage, could not seem to grasp the story from my nosebleed seats back when I saw it in college. But I went and saw that movie with my husband and well, he wasn't my husband at the time, my boyfriend at the time. And boy, did I just fall in love with that movie, and I cried through it. That was my first not my first crying one, but that was a crying one for me. And I think that we had a similar feeling towards the movie, and we just really gelled together that day and brought us closer together. And now we're married and have a family, and that's where we are. All because of the movies.
I'm quiet now. Hang on a minute.
Yes, sir. The story of your life. Would it be described as a comedy, a drama, a horror movie, or possibly a Disney movie? I see Ed smiling at me, so we're going to go with Ed.
Fellow Toastmasters, the story of my life would be tragic drama comedy rolled up in Disney movie. My life started, as they say, at a very early age in Baltimore. And my family moved when I was a year old to Kansas City, Missouri. In Kansas City, Missouri, we lived in an apartment that overlooked this very large park. And I used to go out and play in the park all the time. And as a child, I didn't always behave myself. And one day, a friend and I are in the sandbox playing, and we got into a rock fight with some other kids. And we're throwing rocks at each other very stupidly. When my friend got hit in the ear with the rock, he started bleeding. I said, holy crap. So I ran home and I hid behind the refrigerator because I was afraid that I was going to get in trouble for something. From Kansas City, my family moved to Pittsburgh. I liked Pittsburgh quite a bit. I was a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, and I actually went to the Game 7 of the 1960 World Series between the Pirates and the Yankees. I was there when Mazeroski hit the home run. My sophomore year in high school, my family moved to Irvington, New Jersey. That was a shock to the system. Moving from Pittsburgh to Irvington, New Jersey, a suburb of New York, where the Jersey boys came from. If you've seen them play, you know how people talk. They were in New Jersey. Well, my first day on the bus, heading for school, there are these two girls in the back, and one says to the other, "Thanks for everybody here, but I need a representation." And I'm saying to myself, holy crap, that's what the girls are. What are the boys like? And I will finish the story later.
Tell us about the whole experience of going to the movies with your parents for the very first time. Our grammarian, Toni G.
That would have been about 50 years ago, and there's nothing. One of the things I have learned to do is go to the movies by myself, whenever I felt like it, without having somebody at home, living alone, not having somebody at home that I had to report to. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to sit in a movie theater. One of the best times I ever had was when it was either 14, 15, or 16, somewhere in my teen years, when the Beatles came out with their first movie. I lived in a suburb of Chicago, Skokie, Illinois, and the movie was in Chicago, downtown. It was a long train ride, they call it the L in Chicago. But a group of us went down and stood in line for several hours before the movie opened, and we stayed there till about 6 o'clock at night. And we saw the movie about, well, you do the math, 3 times, 4 times. Best day ever. Eating popcorn and, don't listen, junk food and diet soda. Was there diet soda back then? Wait a minute. Probably not. Those were days before diet soda, oh my gosh. I still love going to the movies. It would be fun to have a movie group, so if anybody wants to form one, I'm in, because I'm actually pretty tired at this point of going to the movies by myself. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you. What movie did you go and see that made you feel like when you left you could run through a brick wall? Superman.
It wasn't the Superman I saw in 1978. A long way have we come in the making of movies. Run through a brick wall, it would be a superhero movie. It's been a long, long time, but I would say there's a new Spider-Man out, I think. I haven't seen it. The first one was really good. And it was the last one I remember. To run through a brick wall, I don't get too close to that. And I don't run out of movies doing that. But I think what I liked about that movie was the main character, I don't remember the name, seemed very small, but it wasn't a huge giant man who turns into some big, either massive superhero or a villain. It was a very small, petite gentleman, and there always is a love story component in those movies, but there was something very heroic and very graceful the way Spider-Man leaps from building to building, and the animation, the music, the storyline, I felt it was well done and completed what I thought a good superhero would be. I felt just good, inspired, enjoyed it. I really don't know if I'd run out and go to the parking garage and ha 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 and knock that down, but I would say so that was Spider-Man. Thank
you. Tell me about your favorite scene in the funniest movie that you've ever watched. Mark Lowry.
Oh, God. Thank you, Mr. Tabletopics. Oddly enough, 3 days ago, my wife and I were walking down Hollywood Boulevard. We just returned last night from a trip over the weekend to visit our relatives. And every time I go to Hollywood, or every time I see this movie on TV, it just fills me with so much compassion and love. Only once in a generation does a movie come along that encompasses every emotion known to mankind. Love, horror, disaster. I am, of course, speaking of Dumb and Dumber. It's my favorite movie. And in that movie, the scene when Jeff Daniels goes, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's this one scene where Jeff Daniels, he cuts off his partner to go ahead and, he cuts off his partner to go to the woman's house for a date. And while she's getting ready, he needs to use the restroom. So instead of asking her which restroom to use, he just sees a restroom and he goes in there. And it reminded me of the sugar-free gummy bears, the explosions and the sounds that came out of that bathroom. But poor Jeff Daniels didn't bother to check to see if the toilet was working first. And to me, every time I think of Dumb and Dumber, that scene just for some odd reason just pops into my head. And that would be the scene that I love most of all.
Me too, Mark. I know exactly what you're saying. It's summer movie time. It's like Christmas Eve every Thursday with an awesome movie starting the following Friday. I would love to know what movie you are most excited about this summer. Stephen Morgan.
Mr. Tabletopics Master, it's probably the very one that you'd be most interested in seeing right now. X-Men Days of Future Past is coming out this month. And yes, I do enjoy the superhero movies. I collected comics as a kid. I enjoyed them. When they go to make the movies, I like to see how they go about interpreting them. Most of the time, I like what they've done. They've been getting a lot better, and Marvel in particular has been starting to hit them well out of the park. The Captain America one that came out just recently, leaps and bounds above the first one, and they did a very good job of telling his story the first time. The second one was telling the story of today, and it was very well done. What I'm planning and hoping to see with X-Men Days of Future Past, I know my wife's going to love it because it's got the time travel part. It also has Charles Xavier, which she also loves. I could have a bunch of fun with that. Also going to have Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, playing in both time periods because he lives forever. And I have an already idea about the storyline because I've actually seen the storyline before. There was a Wolverine in the X-Men comic, cartoon actually, and the story originally came from the comics. That cartoon actually told the same type of storyline of where you're talking about an apocalyptic future where they're trying to get a message back to the past to find a way to stop it. The best part is that they've managed to get all the actors from the different variants of X-Men, both the X-Men Origins and the original movies, pulling them all together, playing those same roles, and I'm sure they had to put up a little bit of money, despite Marvel's tight pockets at times, to actually make this happen. But if they have done their job, and Marvel's job that they've done so well is how they weave the story and the characters together in a way that you can keep following along. They've chosen a very complex story to try and make this work. I think they can do it, and if they do it, it is going to be an incredibly good movie. Hopefully it's one that you can enjoy without having seen the others. I like having seen the others, would be happy to do so. In fact, if they go and do the same kind of thing that they've done like with the Avengers and have the movie marathon ahead of time, the day of the opening, and play all the movies back to back leading up into it, that'd be lots of fun too. I would be jumping at that chance. Toni, you can join us, since you'd be wanting to do that. Unfortunately, the kids won't be here in time to catch it, but if they're really since their dad doesn't think that comic book movies are worthwhile to see, they probably won't have seen it by the time they get here, so we'll have that opportunity now and again. So I'll be seeing it at least twice, I'm sure. Mr. Dable.
Thank you. What movie did you see when you went home and went to bed that night that you checked all the closets, you checked under your bed, because it was absolutely terrifying? I guess that means we're going to call Michelle.
She's over here going.
I don't even remember how old I was, and I kind of don't want to age myself, but yeah, I was in my older 20s. That Hannibal Lecter movie.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even remember the name of it except for Hannibal Lecter movie. I got taken there on a date. I was terrified. Knew something had to be in my house. The guy walked me to my door, which was, a sweet, gentlemanly thing to do. I closed the door. I sat inside. Hey, wait, can you come look at my house real quick? Do you mind checking the closets for me and maybe under the bed? And I'm really panicked here. Kept the guy there for at least 30, 45 minutes. I'm sure he thought it was because I, was interested. It was because I was terrified. That movie scared the hell out of me. I can't imagine anything more frightening. It was so graphic, and they kept a great storyline. The dynamics between those two actors were incredible. It kept you engaged and involved. But how many times, if you've seen it before, did you just have to look away? And when you get as old as I was at the time, there's not many movies left that scare you. That is the most terrifying movie I've ever seen. Thank you.
And thank you, Michelle for teaching me what I need to do to get inside of a woman's house. And we have a timer's report.
It's old advice, dude.
We are ahead of time by 3 minutes, I'm proud to say. First speaker was myself, and I told everybody about a movie that made me cry. I smoked for 1 minute and 15 seconds, and I qualified. Next we had Renju, who told us about his Scariest movie. He talked for 47 seconds, he did not qualify. Next we had Susan, who told us about her date with her husband. Talked for 1 minute and 3 seconds, she qualified. Next we had Ed, who told us the movie of his life. Talked for 2 minutes and 23 seconds, he qualified. Then we had Toni, who told us about going to the movies by herself. Spoke for 1 minute and 35 seconds, she qualified. And we had Sarah, who told us about a movie that would make her run through a brick wall, or whatever. Spoke for 1 minute and 25 seconds, she qualified. Mark told us about his favorite, funniest movie scene, and he talked for 1 minute and 26 seconds, he qualified. Then we had Steven, who talked about the movie that he is most excited for coming up. He spoke for 2 minutes and 29 seconds, he qualified. And last but certainly not least, we had Michelle that told us about her most terrifying movie, which was Silence of the Lambs. And did you ever see the sequel to that, Hannibal, or the prequel,
Actually,
Red Dragon?
Yeah, as stupid as I am, I did.
I thought those were worse, but that's me. But you spoke for 1 minute and 18 seconds, and you qualified.
Right. Please stand for tabletopics number 2. And push control to our awesome Toastmaster.
Our third thing tonight is Kings and Queens. And again, before I introduce our next musketeer, I'm going to share a joke with you. Prince Philip, husband of Queen Elizabeth, was visiting an Australian university when he was introduced to a couple identified as Mr. and Dr. Robinson. The husband explained, "My wife is a doctor of philosophy. She's much more important than I." Prince Philip sympathetically replied, "Ah, yes, we have the same trouble in our family too." Now, our next tabletopics master, Mark, he has been a member of Toastmasters since this past November and is excited to be hosting questions and on topics related to kings and queens. He spent a lot of time doing research on various kings and queens, including Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria, and even visited Dairy Queen a few times. So please help me welcome Mark Lowry.
Thank you, Your Grace. Just as Micki thought Jonathan would be a natural authority on movies, I can easily see why she would think I would be an authority on kings and queens. This eve, the questions will revolve around anything associated with the king or queen. So please reach down and summon up your courage and let these games begin. King Tut was a boy king. Before he was even a teenager, he became king of the Egyptian Empire. Can you remember when you were 9 or 10? What did you want to be when you grew up, and why? Julian.
Mr. Tabletopics Master, When I was a kid, what I wanted to do was get the hell out of my house. That's all I wanted to do. And it took me 20 some odd years to be able to accomplish that feat. Now, some of you may say, well, why as a little kid would you want to get out of the house? Because it wasn't a great house to live in as I was growing up. And what I wanted to do was really to get out, to be free, to be an adult. Because the worst, if you ask me, what, if you could live forever, how old would you want to be? I would want to be 25, 30 years old. Not a kid. You don't have any power over anything that happens to you. Whoever you live with decides how your life is going to be. And it can be a good life, or it could be a miserable life. The great thing that each of us have, though, is we can make lemonade out of any lemons that life brings our way. And that is the power of choice that each one of us have. So no matter how bad your life was when you were growing up, when you were a kid, when you had no power over anything because you had no money, no ability to do whatever you wanted. Basically, you had no money. That's what it is. Because if I were a movie star, like some of these kids, and was a multi-billionaire at 13, I'd do whatever the hell I wanted. Like Beavis Butthead or whatever his name is. Right? You can do whatever you want. But you, Mark, and everybody, you can decide to stop being a victim and turn your lemons into lemonades.
There was once a king who fell in love with a beautiful woman visiting his island. She was half his age and probably 1/8 of his size. I am of course referring to the famous King Kong, who once fought an entire army in order to preserve his love. Please recount for us here your first true love and what made it so. Willie.
Thank you, my lord. Ladies and gentlemen of the court, I am going to tell you about my queen. She is the fairest of the land, and I will go through hell and back for her. And yet, I touched just a tiny piece of heaven when I saw her. I saw her online. Yes. Online. I saw her picture and I was like, my goodness. And then I said to myself, okay, I have never done this online before. So what do? I think I'm just going to send dollar signs and be like, well, that's what I have, sweetheart, is a lot of dollar signs. And then I thought to myself, no, Willie, you have to do something better than that. So I thought, man, I'm just going to ask her, you want to go and dance? And she was like, yes, I do. And then I said to myself, oh my goodness, I bet you that when I meet her, I am going to completely forget how to dance. And so, my friends, that's exactly what happened. I took her out, and I just completely forgot how to dance. I was so nervous, and yet I held her hand, and then I knew that at last I found my princess. And through almost everything he manageable. I had the courage to ask her to be my wife, and therefore, that makes me a king.
Castle Neuschwanstein is considered one of the most popular of all palaces in Europe. It was built in the late 1800s, and every year over 1.4 million people visit it. What was the most interesting place you have ever visited, and what maketh it so? Renju.
What was the question?
What is the most interesting place you have ever visited, and tell us about it?
Most interesting place I visited is London. That was the first international trip which I had in my life, and I really liked that place because that is the true cosmopolitan. You get the chance to meet people from different culture, different languages, and whatsoever. You get a chance to meet a lot of people. You get a chance to eat a lot of good, different cuisine. That's another advantage of being in London, and it's and of course it's in a very expensive place too. So if you want to live there, and I remember the place I lived was in a Marriott hotels there, and it was pretty expensive. I think it's double or thrice where you stay here in the Marriott hotel. So and I was staying very near to the Lord's Stadium, and I got a chance to meet with our Indian cricket team when I was there in that place at that time. And they were playing against England, and I got a chance to meet with that team, and they were staying at the same hotel where I was staying. So that was a great opportunity, and that's how I like that London the most, and that's my favorite place. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Renju. Last night I had dinner with a king, the famous king of burger. And while I was there, the consumption consisted of Whopper with cheese combo. What is the most interesting food you have ever eaten, and what maketh it so? Lady Sarah.
I like so many foods. There's so many nice, good countries that I've been able to visit that have so many flavorful ethnic cuisines. But my very favorite has to be curry. Now, I don't know if you realize, but in London, England, there's loads of curry restaurants all over the place. It's very odd because you think curry, Indian, India, fish and chips, but I love curry. And I don't like loads of spice, and it was something that I had to grow accustomed to. I search all over the place to find a good curry. And if anyone knows where I can get a good curry, there's not that many restaurants around here. And I could pick a couple. One of my favorites where I work when I had a business, and I've been searching, and there's probably 2 or 3. Curry, in particular, the coconut flavor of the korma curry, usually lamb. Lambs are very popular in the Middle East. I lived many years in the Middle East. And lamb's very popular in the UK. Fine lamb isn't very common, but there's something about the sauce, the rice, the mixture, coconut, and I've gradually eased up to some more spice, not too much though. Past medium, and it's flaring, hot face, red, burning, and I've gone too far, but I like to push it sometimes. And that naan bread, perfect meal. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady Sarah. Although he died in the year 1610, the head of King Henry IV of France was found preserved in an attic in 2010. What was the most unusual thing you have ever found, either in your house or at a yard sale? Lady Gail. Oh.
Tabletopic master. The most unusual thing. Guys, you probably will get into this. We women we would wear this. I was searching for a gift for my sister, who is married to a, as it turned out, he's a poster writer, winter writer. Works with the Washington Post up in DC. And to find the perfect gift for a sister who has everything is a challenge. I don't usually pay full price for garments, and I didn't in this case either because it was on the sale rack. But what a bargain it was, the most unusual gift I have ever given. Can you imagine? Now, I told you she's married to a writer, works at a large newspaper. I found a bustier that was imprinted with newsprint. What sister would not want that? Well, turns out she gave me the hug, she wrote me the thank you, but it showed up years later in one of our family white elephant parties because that bargain. She did not appreciate it. I appreciated the most unusual lingerie that was so appropriate for her whole lifestyle. And I just figured there would be a little bit of Cupid happening in there. Her husband reading, and admiring. I won't go from there because she didn't get into details. But that was probably the most unusual thing.
I think it would not be fair if we didn't let our Grace partake in the festivities. The next question is for you, ma'am. Ophiophagus hana is actually the scientific name for the king cobra. It is the world's longest venomous snake and can reach up to 18.5 feet long. If you were able to transform yourself into any kind of animal that you wanted to be, what animal would you become and why?
And the question is about snakes.
No, any animal.
No. He mentioned the word snake. And I have to tell you, I have snakes in my backyard. I'm sorry. I'm very sensitive to this topic. The other day, they were chasing each other, I guess, I don't know, along the fence, and I thought I was going to die. What if I find one in my house? What if I find one in the garage? What if I find one in my bed? No. I really don't know what to do about it. My husband has a BB gun, and he killed one of them. I don't know how legal it is, but he's afraid like I am. And there is a funny story about it. When we moved in that house the first time, there was a snake, that snake, but I didn't know at the time, in a palm tree. And my husband and his mother ran into the house and left me there with an electric saw, how do you call it? This chainsaw, an electric chainsaw. And I was trying to kill the snake with the chainsaw. And I was yelling, screaming, and then throwing the chainsaw and ran back. And then again, until I realized that the snake had been dead for a long, long time.
Kings and queens often wore robes that were purple in color. They did this because the dye was so expensive and hard to come by that only the wealthiest of rulers could afford it. If you were king, what color would your robe be? Why would it be that color? And what are some other things that you can think of that are made of that color? Sir Alan.
Wow. Okay. Well, if I were king, I would have my robe colored black. I don't know if black is actually considered a color, but I think it's really cool. So that's what I'm going to say. On the inside, I would have the robe burgundy because that's my favorite color. So I think the combination would be really cool when you open up and flash it, kind of do that superhero kind of thing, and you're like, yeah. So that is the way it would be. And also, that way if I wrap around myself, and I'm like, yeah, I'm back in black. So that would be what I want. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Elizabeth Bathory of Hungary was also known as the Wicked Queen. She often killed young ladies in the village and bathed in their blood because she thought it would keep her young looking. It was actually thought that they based Dracula on her life and not Vlad the Impaler. What is the craziest or silliest health or beauty gadget that you have ever seen advertised on television? And what maketh it so? Sir Ed.
Fellow Toastmaster, if I told you about the gadget that I think is the most ridiculous I've ever seen, I think I would embarrass everyone. So I'm not going to tell you about that one. I'm going to have to make something up. The most ridiculous gadget I've ever seen. Let me see. I'm sure I've come across something. Roller skates for rabbits. I think roller skates for rabbits are the most ridiculous invention I've ever seen. One day I was watching television, there was nothing on, and I'm flipping through the channels. And suddenly comes up this roller skates for rabbits commercial. I don't know what station it was on, but I said to myself, that's pretty ridiculous. But I think that roller skates are probably better for cats than rabbits, because I think cats would enjoy all of the activity. But then again, maybe for dogs, because dogs are friendly, and they might let you even put roller skates on them. So I think roller skates for dogs. That's my made-up story.
Now if our royal timekeeper, Sir Alan, can give us a recap of the report.
And I'm happy to announce that we are running 3 minutes ahead of schedule. So, first we had Julian, who told us what he would be when he grew up. He spoke for 2 minutes and 33 seconds. He did not qualify. Next we had Willie, who talked about his first true love. He spoke for 2 minutes and 3 seconds. He qualified. We had Renju, who told us about the most interesting place he's visited. He spoke for 1 minute and 21 seconds. He qualified. And we had Sarah, who told us about the most interesting food. And she spoke for 1 minute and 35 seconds. She qualified. And we had Gail, who told us about the most unusual gift. She spoke for 2 minutes and 25 seconds. She qualified. And then we had Miss Micki D, who told us about killing snakes. She spoke for 1 minute and 39 seconds. She qualified. And we had me. And I spoke about what type of robe I'd have if I were king. I spoke for 53 seconds, so unfortunately I did not qualify. And last but not least, we had Ed here, who told us about his most ridiculous gadget. He spoke for 1 minute and 12 seconds, and he qualified.
So if everyone can cast their vote. That will conclude the festivities for round 3 of Table Topics. So, Your Grace, I relinquish the lectern.
Thank you, sir. I don't know how come according to Alan we're 3 minutes ahead. According to my schedule, we're 3 minutes behind, I think. So I'm going to hurry up.
We're ahead.
We're ahead? I'm going to hurry up and invite at the lectern our general evaluator tonight, who is Gail S. She is the only consistently active charter member in Central Florida Facilitator. Yes, that means she's older than the in Toastmaster world. She has been with this club for 11 years and 4 years with a club that is no longer active, way back in 1978 until 1982. She's filled with tabletopics and is thrilled to be a part of this meeting. Please help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster Gail S.
Thank you, Micki D, our Toastmaster of the evening. Was this great or what?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we should give Micki a round of applause. As your evaluator this evening, in a normal or a usual meeting, we would have evaluations of the speakers, but this evening our Toastmaster decided to deflect from that particular meeting model and introduced us to a very creative form of table topics. However, as your general evaluator, I took copious notes about the meeting, about speakers, so on and so forth. But before I share this, what if we have our functionary reports? And we'll start with Julian Cotto, our awe counter. Tell us how much money we earned.
I want to mention a couple of things. I'm really proud of Alan. Because he started out with in like the first 2 minutes, he blurted out 10 odds. However, later on, he really improved a lot.
All right.
See, he makes a living, he's a personal trainer, and he intimidates the crap out of everybody that he trains. So it just goes to show you, but they do improve, right?
Yeah.
So it goes to show you that people in Toastmasters do not realize that this is a great teaching tool. It's not about embarrassing him or embarrassing anybody. It's about making him a better speaker. Like when he's a personal trainer, he makes you a better physically fit person because he intimidates the crap out of you.
Or something like that.
So if you're ever the yacht counter, remember you're helping someone become a better speaker. And with that said, Alan, he still is way ahead, by the way. Even though we are proud of you because you really, towards the end, you were really getting it together. There were 10, 11, 5 ahs and so's and 11 ahs and ums. Toni giggles, 2 ahs and ums, 1 double clutch, 1 like and so. Micki D, 3 ahs and ums, 1 double clutch. Michelle, 1 ah and You did a great job. You were like Gail Hill Smith, clean slate. Willie Naranjo, 1 like and so. Yeah. Julian, myself, 1 ah, 1 like and so. And Stephen Morgan, 1 double clutch, and it was there. John Dunn, 1 like and so. Susan Morgan, 5 like and so's. Ed Clark, too many ands. And this, and that, and the other thing, and, you know, and my name is Ed, and Clark.
This is the New Jersey dialect.
You know, Ed Clark. So 5 ands, 1 and Sarah Hunt, clean slate. Mark, I did not hear any ahs and ums, and that concludes. So you guys, you owe me $1, and everybody else owes me. Let's say Toni 40 cents, Micki D 40 cents. Willie 10, me 20, Stephen 10, John 10, Susan 50, and Ed Clark 60.
Woo! Well, thank you for that extemporaneous speech.
We did have an extra 3 minutes.
Not anymore.
Never let a minute, a toastmaster, never let a minute go by.
Yeah, we're right on time.
How about our Grammarians report from DTM Toni G? No problem, Julian. I don't need my 3 minutes. Word of the day, please let me know if I don't mention your name. I heard it from Alan, Willie, Mark, Gail, Stephen.
I was the first user.
Well, see, I wasn't listening yet. Oops. Oops. All right, Julian.
In my introduction.
Me too.
Did you say it?
It was after that and.
I was counting your hands. The rest of you then owe 25 cents for not using the word of the day. Micki, as much as you spoke. I know. Just being informative. I did not hear a lot of colorful imagery. The use of vocabulary and grammar was excellent. I would like to compliment Mark on his preparation of the table topic questions, because you got the theme involved, yet you gave us a question we could answer. And tied it all in, made a great transition. Stephen, you said I could have had a bunch of fun with that. The use of the word bunch sounds real informal, but I found it very acceptable. In this informal environment, we were having fun. It fit the conversation that he was having with us. So I just thought I'd point it out, because maybe some people heard it and thought it was inappropriate. Sarah, there was something very graceful, very heroic about Spider-Man. I just liked that. Thought it was the most colorful thing I heard. That's it, guys.
Thank you, functionaries. In a moment, I will ask you for your vote on the most improved Toastmaster this evening. And while you are contemplating that with courage, I will try to summarize my 2 pages of some